The Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Evo Morales Ayma, Constitutional President of the Plurinational State of Bolivia. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Evo Morales Ayma and to invite him to address the Assembly. Excellency.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. I'd like to extend my greetings to my brother, President of the General Assembly of the United Nations, Tijani Mohamed Bande, Brother Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, brothers and sisters, presidents, chancellors, delegates, brothers and sisters, international organizations, and all the peoples of the world. Once again, we meet in this multilateral organization, which is the most important organization of mankind, in order to reflect and to collectively analyze global problems which are a concern for our peoples. We observe with concern that the multilateral system is deteriorating as a result of unilateral measures taken by some states. States that have decided to ignore commitments, good faith, and global structures that were built in order for states to live healthily with each other in the context of international law and based on the basic principles of the United Nations Charter. We meet in this forum to debate and to seek solutions to the great and serious threats to mankind and life on this planet. Our house, Mother Earth, is our only home, and it is irreplaceable. Increasingly, it is suffering from more fires, more floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, droughts, and other disasters. Every year is hotter than the one before. More ice is melting. Sea level is increasing, and every day we see the disappearance of species suffer from land erosion, desertification, and deforestation. Brothers and sisters, we stand warned that if we continue on this path, by the year 2100, we will have reached a point where there is a 3-degree centigrade increase in temperature, which will lead to devastating and massive changes. The consequences of climate change will, according to data of this very organization, condemn millions of people to poverty, to hunger, to no access to drinking water. They will lose their homes. Forced displacements will take place. More refugee crises and more armed conflicts will take place. Brothers and sisters, in recent weeks, we have been surprised by forest fires that have broken out in various places around the planet. These fires have been unleashed in the Amazon and Oceania and Africa, and they impact the flora, the fauna, and biodiversity as a whole. In recent weeks in Bolivia, we have also seen focal points for heat, and we are fighting these fires using our financial, technical, and human resources. To date, our country has spent more than $15 million in order to put out the fires. We thank the international community for its timely cooperation in helping us to struggle against the fire and we thank the international community for its commitment to participate in post-fire action. Brothers and sisters, and peoples of the world, the arms race, military spending, technology used in the service of death, unscrupulous arms trade, all have been on the rise. The financial system continues to be anti-democratic, inequitable, and unstable. The system continues to privilege tax havens and banking secrecy, forcing the weaker countries to accept conditions that only perpetuate their dependency. We observe with sadness that the huge social asymmetries continue to exist. According to Oxfam information, currently 1.3 billion people live in poverty, whereas 1% of the wealthiest on the planet hold 82% of world wealth in the year 2017. Inequality, hunger, poverty, the migratory crisis, epidemics of disease, unemployment. These are not just local problems, these are global problems. Moreover, humanity's creative capacity astonishes us on a daily basis with new inventions and new technology applications. These same technologies offer us fabulous solutions to complex problems. Technology has provided a qualitative leap forward for mankind, and yet it is necessary that in this multilateral body we establish agreements in order to provide for the participation of all states. Brothers and sisters, it is unavoidable to talk about the structural causes of the various crises. Transnational corporations control food, they control water, they control non-renewable resources, arms, and technology. These corporations control our personal data and are trying to turn everything into a business in order to accumulate more capital. The world is controlled by a global oligarchy where a handful of multimillionaires define the political destiny of mankind and economic destiny. 26 people have the same amount of wealth as 3.8 billion people. This is an insult. It's immoral, and it's unacceptable. The problem ultimately lies in the model of production and consumption, in ownership of natural resources, and the inequitable distribution of wealth. Let us speak plainly, and let us speak clearly. The root of the problem lies in capitalism, the capitalist system. And this is why the United Nations are more relevant and important than ever, despite individual efforts to undermine it, which these efforts have been insufficient. And it's only through joint action that we will be able to have an opportunity to overcome those efforts. As we said before, our responsibility to the next generation is to deliver to the following generation a world which is more fair and more human. And this can only be achieved if we work together to consolidate a multipolar world based on common rules, and by defending multilateralism, by defending the principles and purposes enshrined in the United Nations Charter, and by defending international law.
Hermanos,
Brothers, sisters, in Bolivia we have taken very important steps. We are the country with the highest economic growth in South America, with an average growth of 4.9% over the past 6 years. Between 2005 and 2019, the gross domestic product increased from 9 $0.5 billion to over $40 billion. We have the lowest unemployment of the region. Unemployment fell from 8.1% in 2005 to 4.2% in 2018. Extreme poverty fell from 38.2% to 15.2% in 13 years. Life expectancy has increased over the past 9 years. Minimum wages increased from $60 to $310. The gender gap has been reduced, as well as land ownership by women has increased. 138,788 women received lands from 2005. Well, in 2005, it was 138,000. By 2018, it was over 1 million. Bolivia is the third country in the world with the largest participation of women in its parliament. Over 50% of members of parliament are women. Bolivia has declared itself free of illiteracy in 2008. The school dropout rate fell from 4.5% to 1.5% between 2005 and 2018. The infant mortality rate was reduced by 56%. We are in a process of implementing a system of universal health care which will guarantee that 100% of all Bolivians have access to free health care with dignity, quality, and humanity. We enacted a law for free medical care for cancer patients. The statistics I mentioned are part of the achievements of our democratic and cultural revolution that has given Bolivia political, economic, and social stability. Brothers and sisters, how have we managed to achieve so much in such a short period of time? How has Bolivia managed to take the path towards defeating poverty and underdevelopment? Well, thanks to the mindfulness of our people, of the indigenous social movements, of farmers, of workers, of professionals, of men and women living in rural areas and in cities. We have nationalized our natural resources and our strategic businesses, taking control of our destiny. We have built a community-based socioeconomic model that is also productive and that acknowledges that basic services are a human right. Today, we can say with pride and optimism that Bolivia can look forward to its future. Brothers and sisters, there is a topic that is pending in the region, that is the sea, access to the sea. The sea is essential for life, for integration, and for the development of nations. This is why Bolivia will never renounce its right to have sovereign access to the Pacific Ocean. In 2015 and 2018, the International Court of Justice in The Hague, in its decisions, stated its position on the following elements. First of all, in paragraph 19 of the decision of the 1st of October 2018, it established that, quote-unquote, Bolivia had a coastline of 400 kilometers along the Pacific Ocean, end of quote. Secondly, in paragraph 50 of the decision of the 24th of September of 2015, it decided that matters under dispute are not matters that are, quote-unquote, resolved by arrangement of the parties or by arbitration or by decision of an international tribunal or regulated by agreements or treaties currently in force, end of quote. Thirdly, in paragraph 176 of the decision of the 1st of October of 2018, the court established that, quote, nonetheless, the conclusion of the court should not be understood as an impediment to the parties continuing their dialogue and exchange of views in a spirit of good neighborly relations in order to resolve the matters pertaining to the landlocked status of Bolivia, a solution which both parties have acknowledged as a matter of mutual interest, with the with the determination of both parties, this could be achieved successfully through meaningful negotiations. End of quote. This court decision has not put an end to the dispute. Quite to the contrary, the court is explicit in recognizing that this dispute continues and it has and does not close the possibilities for both states to try to find a solution. This is why the United Nations must monitor and demand the full enforcement of the decisions of the court, so that both nations can continue negotiating in good faith to close the wounds of the past that are still open. It is possible to promote a spirit of good neighborly relations and open a new chapter in our relationship in order to forge solutions that are mutually acceptable and lasting. Brothers and sisters, our countries confront situations that are very different and challenging, and that they should be tackled in a sovereign way, and that we should find solutions through dialogue and negotiation for the benefit and for the interests of our peoples. Bolivia, in accordance with the resolutions of the United Nations, would like to reiterate its rejection of the economic and financial blockade that has been imposed against Cuba, which is an assault on all human rights. Finally, brothers and sisters, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all member states for their support for the various initiatives promoted by Bolivia, such as the International Year of Indigenous Languages, the Declaration of the Rights of Family Farmers, and the declaration of the 21st of June as the International Day of Solstice. To conclude, we would like to restate our commitment to consolidate a new world order of peace with social justice, of well-being and harmony with Mother Earth, respecting the dignity and identity of all peoples. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank His Excellency President Evo Morales Ayma, President of the Plurinational State of Bolivia, for his statement. May I request representatives to remain seated while we greet the head of state?